people have accused Ambassador Rice and the administration of, misleading Americans. I can say, trying to be in the middle of this and understanding what was going on, nothing could be further from the truth. I can say, trying to be in the middle of this and understanding what was going on, nothing could be further from the truth. I can say, trying to be in the middle of this and understanding what was going on, nothing could be further from the truth. Was information developing? Was the situation fluid? Would we reach conclusions later that weren't reached initially? And I appreciate the—
Madam Secretary, do you disagree with me that a simple phone call to those evacuees to determine what happened wouldn't have ascertained immediately that there was no protest? I mean, that was a piece of information that could have been easily obtained.
Well, but Senator,
within hours, if not days.
Senator, when you're in these positions, the last thing you want to do is interfere with any other process going on.
I realize that's a good excuse.
Number two, no, it's the fact. Number two, I would recommend highly you read both what the ARB said about it and the classified ARB, because even today there are questions being raised. Even today there are questions being raised. Even today there are questions being raised. Now, we have no doubt they were terrorists, they were militants, they attacked us, they killed our people. But what was going on and why they were doing what they were doing
Again, we were misled that there were supposedly protests and then something sprang out of that, an assault sprang out of that. And that was easily ascertained that was not the fact. And the American people could have known that within days, and they didn't know that.
With all due respect, the fact is we had 4 dead Americans. With all due respect, the fact is we had 4 dead Americans. With all due respect, the fact is we had 4 dead Americans. Was it because of a protest, or was it because of guys out for a walk one night who decided they'd go kill some Americans? What difference at this point does it make? What difference at this point does it make? What difference at this point does it make? It is our job to figure out what happened and do everything we can to prevent it from ever happening again, Senator. Now, it is our job to figure out what happened and do everything we can to prevent it from ever happening again, Senator. Now, it is our job to figure out what happened and do everything we can to prevent it from ever happening again, Senator. Now, honestly, I will do my best to answer your questions about this, but the fact is that people were trying in real time to get to the best information. The IC has a process, I understand, going with the other committees to explain how these talking points came out. But, to be clear, it is, from my perspective, less important today, looking backwards, as to why these militants decided they did it than to find them and bring them to justice. It is, from my perspective, less important today, looking backwards, as to why these militants decided they did it than to find them and bring them to justice. It is, from my perspective, less important today, looking backwards, as to why these militants decided they did it than to find them and bring them to justice. And then maybe we'll figure out what was going on in the meantime. And then maybe we'll figure out what was going on in the meantime. And then maybe we'll figure out what was going on in the meantime.
I'm here with Nick. No, we're at the Trump Doral. Nick, what's happening? What's going on? And also, who are you?
I ended up here at the Doral Hotel because I was presenting at the American Priority Conference. Thank you, by the way, American Priority Conference. The reason I'm here is to tell everyone what really happened in Benghazi. Where I worked was the 603rd AOC out of Ramstein, Germany. We're over AFRICOM and EUCOM combined. In that time, my job was in combat operations, and I was in combat reports. I got all of the information from all of our subordinate units, and then I made them into situational reports, Commander Update Briefings, also known as a CUB briefing. Every morning, or every afternoon, I would send those out. And there's a lot of information besides just the subordinate units. There's internal unit information and intelligence, logistics, personnel, weapon status, locations of troops, all that sort of stuff. That all went to my desk as kind of a unique position. Everybody I worked with had their own job to do, and then they would send that information over, whatever they're doing, their work product, and I would get all that information, condense it into these reports, and I would send them up the chain to generals. There's probably about 20 generals, and then they were usually always there, and then there's a few other ones that rotated sometimes. Anyway, there's a lot of outside agencies as well, people with just civilian names, whatever. But anyway, in my time there, I was working at the Air and Space Operations Center there when Benghazi happened, when the attacks happened in Benghazi. I was really concerned over what happened because one of the teams, or one of the subordinate units that reported to us, was a rescue team out of Djibouti. And then, so whenever this all happened, I was at work, and I ended up leaving thinking everything's going to be okay. At that point, I saw drones overhead. You could see just circling, for hours while I was there. Left work, I thought they were coordinating. It turns out that they did nothing. I mean, not to mention the night prior, before everybody was supposed to, come in the next day, one of my good friends, Josh Salmon, he was working the night, it's called the watch desk. Basically, there's a skeleton crew at night, at least at that time, and he was in operations intelligence. Him and one other person was in there, and then we had the CCO, commanding officer. Long story short, he told me that whenever the attacks started happening, he's watching this in real time, and he's starting to contact agencies to see what they can do to coordinate something. Surge assets is what it's called. And he goes out to the CCO at the time, and the CCO tells him, don't call anybody in, we can't do anything. That's what he told him. So that was really concerning for me, and after I had seen at work everything going on, and then I left, and then I came back, and nothing was done still, I was confused, angry, and all kinds of things. It turns out that there's a lot more going on than we really understood. I mean, some of the things that came out you already knew about because, obviously we're briefed on that every day. But so fast forward, I wait until I get out of the military, because at that point I realize if they're going to kill them, they sure as heck will kill me. So it's easy decision to be quiet and then get out of the military. Did that, and when I got out, I went to someone on the Benghazi committee, so that way I could go tell them, because it's the safest place, right? I figured, and as a Republican, I thought it was the safest place. I'm a Republican, by the way, but I was surprised that whenever I went to them and said I have more information, I want to, at least go on the record and provide my account of what happened. And they said, we're not interested in that, and that investigation is over. I audibly sounded concerned in my voice after that when I was still talking with their chief of staff. And then they said, well, go ahead and call the FBI then. And it's kind of like, what are you going to do about it? Yeah, that's when I realized that everything was a lot more corrupt than I could have ever understood at that time. I knew something was wrong. So I went to the FBI right after James Comey gets fired. I figured it might be safe by then. I thought it was just the top brass, Wrong. Went to the FBI. Still haven't got a call back, and I'm not going to talk to you, by the way, ever. Yeah, you had your chance. Anyway, went to the FBI. They never called me back. All they had to do was look me up in Office of Personnel Management to see where I worked, and they would have known when I worked there. It would have been easy for them. Gave them all my information. They didn't do it. They didn't call me back. Okay, so anyway, fast forward, I kind of gave up on everything. I waited for a while. I didn't really have anything that I could do, so I saw Charles Woods in an interview with Dave Janda. By the way, he's great. Dave Janda, you got to check out his YouTube channel. Charles Woods is the father of Ty Woods, who was killed on the rooftop in Benghazi by a mortar. Now, I saw him in an interview with Dave Janda. In the interview, he said that he's been lied to the entire time. He has no idea what happens to his son. He doesn't know why anything happened, and they've been lying to him the whole time. So I didn't even think about it. I just picked up my phone and I sent an email right away to Dave. And luckily, Dave was he has tons of emails, by the way, and he gave me a call. It was really quick, and then I was just like, oh, okay, and then just kept rolling with it. So thank you, Dave.
And got connected with Charles.
Got me connected with Charles so I could tell him what happened. So I get down there and talk with Charles, and it was a really hard conversation to have. It's a really hard conversation. From there, I got linked up with other witnesses, and then we've been going on radio shows and YouTube channels trying to get the truth out there. Over time, there's enough interest for us to do a presentation here at AmpFest, which is awesome. You got to come here. It's great weather, great location,
Great people,
great
connections.
people. Oh boy, it's lots of fun. Lots of fun too. My presentation that's caught everybody's attention is that through that time where I've done these interviews and stuff, I've been connected with more witnesses. I came in contact with Alan Perot. Alan has a treasure trove of audio recordings, documents, going back years. I mean, we're talking a long time. He was in the Middle East for over 20 years. I don't want to say too much about it, but he's got recordings of a lot of people. So something that everybody wants to have is the evidence. Ooh, I want to hear and see the evidence. Guess what? We have it. We have irrefutable evidence. We have audio recordings of people, government officials talking about it to Alan. And in there, you're going to find out some pretty shocking things. And that's just the start of it. That's just a couple of audio recordings and a document. You're going to find out that 3 former CIA directors were all implicated by allowing this to continue to keep bin Laden alive in Iran. They moved him from Iran over to Pakistan for the trophy kill instead of just giving him to us. Iran was like, all right, here, take him. They were going to give him to us. And instead, Hillary and Biden and them cooked up this plan to have him transferred to Pakistan for a trophy kill. They want to do a trophy kill.
Right before his reelection.
Yeah, they wanted to do it right before his reelection. And then, so, yeah, fast forward a little bit, he is reelected. One thing that people don't know, though, is that the payments to Iran were related to that. I've heard 2 things. I've heard that bin Laden, that wasn't him as his body double. I mean, I guess we'll never know if they buried it at sea, that story, right? But either way, even if they did kill him or didn't kill him, the payments occurred because of that transaction. Of course, the pallets of cash are kickbacks, right?
The transaction of SEAL Team 6's.
Oh yes. After this all happens, SEAL Team 6 gets shot down. It was only a really short time after that. That was highly suspect even to us when we were briefed on it and everything. None of it made any sense. Nobody knows where they are at any time. Practically a handful of people do. For them to be targeted so easily, like sitting ducks, did not sit well. I've come to find out that later that I knew that there were some weapons going through there, but I guess Hillary had been taking over the covert weapons program and started selling her weapons through there. There's only supposed to be small arms sold anyway, and they really didn't need them because we already provided the weapons, so they didn't even need to send the weapons through, straight up. So that didn't even need to happen anyway, that other covert program. So Hillary takes over Mark Turi's covert program and says, hey, I've got this now. Me and my people are going to do it. So first off, she didn't have authorization. Second off, State Department doesn't sell weapons. Third off, the reason that she did was because she wanted to sell Stinger missiles through Benghazi to shoot down SEAL Team 6. They shot down SEAL Team 6 with a Stinger missile that was sold by Hillary Clinton out of a weapons cache from Qatar that the CIA had put there. Big problems here.
People are asking, when is everything going to come out?
Right now, we're giving all of the audio and the documents to several different news outlets, and whoever gets there first is first.
That's
so
right.
that's the way it's going to be, because not to fault anybody, but we've been delayed because we put our trust into just one, and there's not enough time. We're just going to give it to everybody. That's just the first stage, though. We're going to have a couple of documents, some audio that's irrefutable. It's so damning. Joe Biden, screwed. Hillary, State Department, screwed. I mean, everybody that's involved with this is just, they're going to hang for it. I'm not an attorney or anything like that, but it's pretty plain to see it's treason. So I'm going to look forward to seeing justice served for that crime, because it's what it is. This is just a start. We have a lot more documents, a lot more audio of, I don't want to give away too much of.
Mind-blowing, we'll say that.
All the other players involved in the whole process. So.
And can you confirm that a congressperson has the documents? Yeah, we're not going to say who.
Yeah, I can't tell you who, but a congressman has everything. Boy, am I glad that I was able to get that done. Yes.
Quickly as possible.
Yeah, so there's nothing stopping it. There's nothing that can stop it right now.
It's going. It's going to happen. In Jesus' name. Well, Nick, we pray for you. Everyone pray for Nick. Pray for Alan. Pray for Charles Woods. Keep them in your prayers, guys. This is the most intense Groundbreaking information in American history, the biggest scandal, the biggest cover-up, treason, absolute treason. Benghazi is not going away, Hillary. It is not. So we pray for you. In Jesus' name, we thank you. You're a hero. God bless you. And by the way, where can everybody follow you?
Oh, you can follow me on Twitter. I use the Twitter handle Science is my muse. It's, all one word, Science is my muse.
Amen. Well, God bless you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
My friends, we have a bombshell news report, a whistleblower, a CIA whistleblower dropping hard evidence that implicates Biden, Obama, Hillary, Brennan, that they actually executed SEAL Team 6 and covered it up, and there is audio, video, and documentary proof. Now, Anna Kate, she'll be joining me in just a moment. She tweeted out yesterday, and now the story is going viral across the web. She said, breaking, Alan Harrow Perot, CIA whistleblower, tells Charles Woods, the father of Tyrone Woods, who was killed in Benghazi, that Obama and Biden sent $152 billion as a cover-up for the deaths of SEAL Team 6. Allen said all of the proof will come out, documents and audio. Now, I'm going to play you the video that's attached here. Okay, video of the whistleblower's own words. But first, let's get some background. Carrie Donovan from DJHJ Media reports that the full interview of the CIA whistleblower interviewed by Charles Woods and Nicholas No surfaced on Sunday, where the three talk about the blackmail extortion of $152 billion sent to Iran to cover up the deaths of SEAL Team 6 by the Obama administration. Perot has extensive experience with the intelligence community, and he's planning on releasing the documents this week on what he said are going to uncover numerous crime sprees. Now, I personally have confirmation that the whistleblower evidence is now in the hands of a member of Congress with the means to take action. And Perot said of the evidence, a heavy price has been paid for what we are uncovering, and millions of people want to see the truth has to come out. Yes, the truth has to come out. Let's take a look now at the whistleblower before we get to Anna. We'll be right back with Anna after this.
My name's Alan Perot. I was a falconer for Arab political leaders for 20 years, and then I spent another 10 years in former Soviet territories doing conservation work and catching falcon smugglers.
We crossed paths about 8 months ago, and I have always been searching for the reasons as to why they wanted everyone to die in Benghazi. And boy, do you have some really good information that explains everything. We appreciate that you're taking the time to share it with us, everyone.
Thank you. I have to say that our military are so well trained, their work is compartmentalized, and the only people that understand the full story are the people at the top. And they have made some very bad decisions for this country and for the former Navy SEAL Ty Woods and his brethren who perished unnecessarily at the hands of Hillary Clinton. In the large picture, this involves Joe Biden and John Brennan.
How did this all start?
Well, the beginning was in the 70s during the Church Commission, when an alternate CIA was created called the Safari Club. And the Safari Club was financed by overseas allies. It was outsourced to foreign banks. I have 2 banks and bank accounts that were used by the Safari Club and the individuals with checks paid out by them. Osama bin Laden was one of the recipients of funding from this alternate CIA that was subverting the oversight control of the successor to the Church Commission, and that is the Senate Intelligence Committee. 1 week before bin Laden was killed, I was called down to the Senate Intelligence Committee to give statements and evidence. And I have quite a few tape recordings of senior members who were aware of bin Laden's house arrest in Iran for 10 years following Tora Bora. This was arranged by John Brennan. This is why Gary Bernson was not allowed to kill Osama bin Laden in Tora Bora when he was only a few hundred yards away, because the plans had been made and set in stone by John Brennan to extradite bin Laden from Tora Bora to Iran, where he remained under house arrest for 10 years. With more than 100 al-Qaeda leaders and their families.
So what you're saying is that there was no need for us to invade Afghanistan under the pretext of getting al-Qaeda if the US government knew and was actually protecting his life in Iran. Is that correct?
It was rogue elements of the US government controlled by John Brennan, Richard Clark, Vice President Biden, quite a few people. There's a long list of people. They started with good intentions. The Safari Club was begun to fight the expansion of the USSR, but it turned into a very distorted operation over the years. And Osama bin Laden was the figurehead manifestation of this alternate CIA. And so they had to protect him in their bad judgment. You see, one lie leads to another. Our parents always taught us this. And so my team, we planned a program to go in and get bin Laden in Iran. We were going to catch him when he was falconry hunting, because I spent 20 years living with Arab political leaders, training their falcons and going out in these camps, hunting with them. And then I noticed there were terrorists coming into these camps, and the Royal Falconry camps are Al-Qaeda's boardroom. This is where these bad guys come. There are no passport or border controls. And so we were going to go in and get bin Laden, but unfortunately, within minutes of ascending to the office of the CIA director, Leon Panetta's first act in office was to cancel the Rigor program, RIGOR, a covert CIA program to catch and kill Osama bin Laden in Iran. This was 6 months after Barack Obama was sworn in as president, and Leon Panetta threw a tantrum and canceled Rigor. This was reported by Goldman and Apuzzo, and slightly mischaracterized in the press as targeting al-Qaeda leaders all over the world, but it was focused only on Iran and bin Laden. And so when we were first ignored and then obstructed and then threatened by 8 CIA officials, and warned off going into Iran to get bin Laden. We had passports, visas, everything was ready. The Revolutionary Guards were going to be our bodyguards while we were out doing bona fide scientific research as a cover for catching bin Laden alive for delivery to a tri-state area. When we were shut down by Leon Panetta and others, I began negotiating directly with Iran 6 scenario analyses for the transfer of bin Laden alive and well to coalition forces, and to have him put in a neutral zone. And Iran is on tape agreeing to this. It was all done. It took 3 years to develop this. I had meetings in the Iranian mission at the United Nations. Ambassador Mohammed Kazai organized everything. Bakhsarai was the handler. There were several handlers. Everything was ready. And then I went to Governor Bill Richardson, New Mexico Governor Bill Richardson, on December 2nd and 3rd of 2010. He agreed to be the U.S. envoy to receive bin Laden for a transfer to coalition custody. It turned out that bin Laden had already been moved to Abbottabad, Pakistan in August of 2010.
Why was he transferred there?
He was transferred there because in the 6 scenario analyses that I discussed with Iran, by harboring Osama bin Laden and 100 al-Qaeda leaders, this represents an act of war against the United States. Their nuclear facilities could be bombed and their economy obliterated. So the time moves backwards instead of forwards. And the Iranians didn't want to risk exposing their complicity with John Brennan and others. John Brennan and Clinton and Biden outsourced the imprisonment of al-Qaeda leaders to Iran. We think of outsourcing as being a commercial activity. They outsourced our military responsibilities to an untrustworthy adversary, Iran. And they did that to save Iran from retaliation for harboring terrorists. And so Iran had no choice in their estimation but to accept the offer of Clinton over my offer, which was transferred to a neutral zone, because that would have endangered their economy and their nuclear program.
So Clinton actually knew about this, right? She knew that they were willing to just hand him over to us.
Tapes,
And
registered letters, everything to Clinton.
so she knew that they were ready. Iran was ready to give us bin Laden with no real struggle. And
Absolutely.
so she decided to have him moved to Pakistan for
Yes.
a trophy kill.
They moved him to Abbottabad in August of 2010. That's our first overhead viewings of bin Laden walking in the garden. Everybody said he was crippled, but he walked down 3 flights of stairs to walk in a garden to advertise his presence, okay? It was an advertisement. Then the gas line was put on the 3rd floor of the Abbottabad complex in August because his wives had to stay sequestered away from the other men. They had to cook in private without the purdah veil and other things. One of bin Laden's sons said his father was strangely resigned to dying in Abbottabad. So he was held there in a gilded cage, awaiting his trophy kill. He was moved from Mashhad, Iran, into Abbottabad airport, and then moved to this prison complex, the Abbottabad compound. It was not there to protect him. It was there to keep him there, awaiting his appointment with destiny. But the Iranians turned it into a fateful result because they pulled bin Laden out at the last minute, at the 11th hour, after an Iranian agent, a double agent, a Pakistan ISI officer who worked for Iran covertly, provided the DNA evidence to the CIA station chief. Finally, they were convinced it was bin Laden in Abbottabad, and they sent in SEAL Team 6. And Musharraf said he didn't know about the SEAL Team 6 coming in, but they had to let down the radar long enough for the helicopters to come in. And they only told Obama about the SEAL Team 6 kill mission after the radar was put back up and SEAL Team 6 could not go back into Afghanistan. It was then a one-way trip that could not be canceled. We have a witness who witnessed Hillary and Panetta threatening Obama that if he didn't greenlight the bin Laden kill mission, they would expose him in the press and he would never survive politically. He actually was reluctant to authorize the kill mission. That's why they pulled him off the golf course only after the mission could not be canceled. So the agent provocateurs, the engineers of all of this were John Brennan, Hillary Clinton, Joe Biden. When they went in there, trusting the Iranians had bin Laden there waiting for them, SEAL Team 6, your son.
He was retired at that time, actually.
Yes, but the SEAL Team 6, they killed Osama bin Laden's double.
How do we know that?
One of the wives went running towards them before he shot him and said, "Don't shoot, he's a double." I don't know the language she used. Then if you read Cy Hirsch's book, he explains that they threw the body parts over the Hindu Kush mountains. They didn't even save them like they saved the sons of Saddam Hussein in a refrigerated tent, well preserved and with makeup, just to prove that the wicked witch was dead. They saved the sons of Saddam Hussein, but they did not save the corpse of Osama bin Laden because it was his double. It could not handle the scrutiny of DNA testing on the ship.
Okay, so the SEAL team, they knew that it was thrown out of the helicopter?
They learned that it was not bin Laden. And so they threw the body parts over the Hindu Kush mountains. And John Brennan said that the people on the ship were told to keep quiet about the burial at sea, but they all say that they never were told to keep quiet because there was no burial at sea. John Brennan took the lead and made the fake media announcements. He lied to the press when he explained this Muslim burial at sea. It's actually haram. It's forbidden to bury a Muslim at sea unless the body's going to endanger the lives of the crew with disease risk. You know, you can't, because you see in the ocean, the feet, it'll rotate around and the feet will face Mecca. It's haram. You must bury on land with the face facing Mecca. So Brennan, who's a Muslim, you'd think he'd know not to lie about something so obvious. He said it was a Muslim burial at sea. Nonsense. So this big lie, Biden, Hillary, and Clinton worked this agreement with Iran. They trusted Iran to move bin Laden to Pakistan. He did. He was there. But then they trusted Iran to keep him there. They moved him out back to Iran. And then the communication from Iran to Obama was, hey, we got your neck in a noose. Give us all this money, $152 billion. $2 billion on an airplane pallet was paid out for the secrets I wish to reveal now and to the president under the terms of misprision and treason. That is to say, this is a secret. These are secrets worth $152 billion paid by President Obama. And Vice President Biden paid with the blood of SEAL Team 6 when he had them killed.
So it's blackmail and extortion then.
Blackmail and extortion.
Now,
Iran commandeered.
You have the documents to
Yes.
prove this.
Yes.
Now,
Iran. Yes, sir.
well, I was going to ask you, if you have those documents, are you willing to personally deliver those to President Trump if he were to provide the transportation and the guarantee of safety for you to do that?
Well, I'm not concerned about safety. There's always an invisible hand that protects us, and we're on the winning team. America's on the winning team.
Not one sparrow falls to the ground outside of God's will.
Yes. Yes. Uh, it would be my pleasure and my honor to bring this material to President Trump. There's a massive amount, terabytes, documents, video, audio,
I
but it
will
needs
do
to go to the president.
I
Yes,
will
sir.
do everything that I can to get this video in his hands.
It's
Well,
my only wish.
Alan, I've got a
My
question
only
for you.
wish.
So that means that SEAL Team 6 was shot down on purpose after the trophy kill to ensure that no dead man can tell no tales.
You were correct. So that President Obama paid bribery of $152 million. Vice President Biden paid with the blood of SEAL Team 6. He spent their blood like currency.
I got to share something with you. Actually, Charles does. Charles, tell him about the Army Ranger that you talked to that was in the city where they were shot down.
Okay. We lived in Hawaii, and for about a month afterwards, I was in shock. And my wife and I, we went walking on the beach. And in the back of my vehicle, I have a bumper sticker about Ty. And this gentleman came up to me, and he was an Army Ranger that had been injured and he was recuperating in Hawaii. And he said, "How do you know Chief Petty Officer Woods?" And I says, "Well, I'm his dad." And he says, "Well, I worked with your son." And we became very close. It was part of my healing process, actually getting to know him. Started coming to our church. His girlfriend started surfing with my daughters, and they ended up getting married. And one of the things that he told me, he says, "I was on the Ranger team that was in that village where SEAL Team 6 was killed." The story was by the Biden-Obama administration that there was this team that was under attack in this village. We're going to die if you don't get someone here really quick. And so they loaded SEAL Team 6 on this slow, vintage Huey helicopter the size of a school bus and slowly got them to the village. Now, they did not request help. They've been in that village numerous times before. In fact, if someone came, it would actually endanger them. The story was not true. And then usually when a helicopter comes in, it goes zoom right down to the ground, opens up, all the troops go out in seconds, and then boom, the helicopter goes straight up. Well, this was a sitting target, okay, the size of a school bus. It hovered in the air over that village, just waiting to be shot down. And the people hot roped. I'd never heard the word hot rope before. That means they each individually lowers down while it was a sitting target. And then apparently it was shot down by one of those weapons that Hillary Clinton illegally sent to Benghazi to give to terrorists, a terrorist organization the U.S. government used to get rid of our ally who was fighting terrorism. That's Gaddafi.
One of the
And then
listen,
that weapon ended up over in Afghanistan.
they were Stinger missiles. Thousands upon thousands of them went missing. And Mark Turi was told that he had a small arms covert weapons program going. So that way none of that was ever given to someone because they could shoot down jetliners just flying by if they wanted to. A child could do it and a 12-year-old could do it. So these Stinger missiles went through Benghazi and then were given to the people who shot down SEAL Team 6. That was a setup. They were covering their tracks there. And then when they found the serial number on one of the missiles, it is traced back to the CIA from Qatar, from that weapons cache of Stinger missiles. That's why they had to then cover their tracks after people found out that the missiles were from Qatar, and then they could trace back where they came from Hillary through Benghazi. That's why Stevens was back there to recover those missiles and cover up the evidence. Well, that's at least what he was told. I assume that part of the plan for her was to eliminate everyone there at the Benghazi compound as well.
You know, it's just so wicked. It's hard. It's just so unimaginably evil what these people do.
Dead men don't talk.
Well, Alan,
We'll talk. We will talk.
you have some good news coming up here in the next week and a half.
Yes, sir.
It's going to be released, audio tapes, documents.
I believe so. Yes.
I'm looking forward to hearing about it and seeing everybody connect the dots, because it's pretty plain to see the people involved, and it's all connected to another crime spree. And that's another story, though.
Well, let's just remember that heavy price has been paid for the secrets we are uncovering, and there are millions of people who want to see the truth, and we're going to deliver.
Well, America is a democracy, and for a democracy to work, the people that vote need to know what the truth is. And that is why we have 3 weeks for the people of the United States to get to know the truth. I hope that the media covers this, including the fake media, because the truth has to come out for our democracy to work properly so people can vote intelligently.
Totally agree. I agree.
All right, Alan, we appreciate your time today. I'm sure this is just the beginning, and we look forward to hearing and seeing what you're going to show to everyone in the future.
It's the beginning, but it's also the beginning of the end for the bad guys.
Truth
Anyway,
comes out.
speak to you soon. Yes. Yes, sir.
Have a good day, Alan.
Pleasure to meet you. Yes. Yes. thank
Lord
you.
bless. Bye-bye.
Joining me is Anna Kate. Anna has personally seen and heard the evidence firsthand. She was there when the information was transferred to a person of influence in the United States government. Anna, break this all down for us. This is huge news. What are the implications for Obama, Hillary, Brennan? What did you hear on those audio recordings?
First of all, thank you, Gary, for having me on. I want to say this is the most explosive information that Americans and the entire world will ever hear. These men are heroes. Alan, Charles, Nick, they are American heroes. It's an honor to even be a part of this. I was not expecting this at all. I was attending American Priority Conference in Florida. We're at Trump Doral, and they were the last ones to speak. Save the best for last, because shockingly, they gave this presentation, dropped this Benghazi bombshell on all of our heads, and we're all wondering what in the world just happened. I came up to honor these wonderful men. They're Christian men. They're spirit-filled men. As a Christian, I wanted to honor them as American patriots and heroes. And they basically said, hey, we need someone to help release this right now. Would you help us? And so I jumped on the bandwagon. We got to my room right away, put this stuff out there. They showed me a lot of the documents. I heard the audios. I heard even more audios this morning. Gary, it is explosive. The audios that they have, I can't mention some of the names, but I'll tell you the biggest names in intelligence, the biggest names in the Obama administration, Brennan, Clinton. There's so much. It ties into Joe Biden. There is so much here. What this administration has done is absolute treason. Now, we all know, and not all of us actually in America are aware, that something was wrong with Benghazi. Okay, there were red flags there, and there was big red flags with SEAL Team 6 who took out Osama bin Laden. It was interesting timing right before Obama's re-election, how this bin Laden raid happened. But turns out that all of these stories, they're all linked together. This is the best kept secret in this country until now. It is time to come forward. I'm so blessed that this man, Alan, who has an extensive history in the Middle East, over 20 years working intelligence in the Middle East, who regrets some of the things that he has done, but has come forward as a Christian saying it's time to release this information. He has thousands of files, thousands of documents that are in the hands of these whistleblowers. So it's a team effort, and a lot of media sources have this information. As you have said, a congressperson has received this disc last night. I was there. It happened right in front of me. We're about to see some explosive things surface. I'll tell you a little quick preview of what it's about. Obviously, you have Nick No, who is a Benghazi whistleblower who reached out to Charles Woods after his son died in Benghazi. He was a sniper up on the roof in Benghazi. His father, Charles Woods, never knew what happened to Tyrone Woods. He was lied to by the Obama administration, telling them that they have done everything that they could to protect those men, which was a bold-faced lie. They did not. Charles Woods explains it in his presentation, which is up on my YouTube if you want to see the entire presentation. He explained Obama wrote him a 3-sentence letter, Gary, a 3-sentence letter completely lying to him. And what happened was, after Charles went on different interviews, it went viral. There were intelligence people that reached out to Charles and said, that is not what happened. You were lied to. This is what happened. Benghazi, Hillary Clinton and the Obama administration, they were sending weapons, Stinger missiles from Libya to Syria, and it was going through Benghazi. And they allowed all those men to be taken out because of what they knew. He also found out, in addition to that, which is insane. He found out more information about the SEAL Team 6 with Osama bin Laden, which is what is all of this is coming out. It's all connected together.
So from what I've been able to gather so far, listening to the whistleblower himself, looking over the different articles that have already been published, and conversations with people, with yourself, other sources, what I'm able to gather here is that the entire operation to take out Osama bin Laden was orchestrated with Hillary Clinton. So Hillary Clinton goes out, she sends out SEAL Team 6. They don't tell Obama. They say, Obama, you're going to have to deal with this, because they've been hiding Osama bin Laden in Iran. Apparently, even CBS News punted a story back.
And Iran knew about it.
And Iran knew about it. They were hiding him there. Back in 2010, CBS News punted a story because they thought it would be harmful to Barack Obama. So it was actually known, but they dropped the ball. So what ends up happening is you have the SEAL Team 6 goes in, Hillary orders the hit, and then Iran sends Osama bin Laden down to that hideout where he was supposedly hiding, but then they switch him out last minute. They switch him out last minute.
Yes.
SEAL Team 6 goes in there and they kill the decoy. And now they go up in the air, they finish their mission, but now they all know that they didn't kill Osama bin Laden, but America, everyone's celebrating in front of the White House that very moment. So now you've got a serious problem on your hands, and Iran says, guess what? We're going to tell the world that you lied to your people unless you send us the money. Is that basically what we're talking about in a nutshell here?
In a nutshell, that's exactly what happened. And the implications of this, the administration in cohorts with Iran protecting bin Laden. And I have to say, I just heard the audio clip this morning, of a congressman, he will be named, I won't name his name right now, who is not a good guy, who is on these audio tapes with Allen talking about, well, let's hold off killing Osama bin Laden until the time is right so we can use him as a trophy. The word trophy wasn't used.
You heard a congressman say that?
Yes, I did. I heard it. I don't have the file. They have it. It's being released. It's given to the congressman last night. Media has it as well. They're hopefully soon they'll release it. But I heard this. I heard that on the audio that they said, hold Osama until we're ready. And then what happened was Iran, last second, like you were saying, last minute, decided to take Osama out. And so there was a decoy, or a double, whatever it was. When the SEAL Team 6 team came in to kill Osama, they had direct orders not to take the body back home. You saw with Saddam Hussein, it was all over the place. His pictures were everywhere. They took the body, they did a DNA test, confirmed it was Saddam Hussein. But with bin Laden, it was never happened. It never happened. They told them to basically throw his body parts over the mountains, which in the news media, they said they dropped his body in the water, which by the way is haram, which Allen explains, having lived in the Middle East over 20 years. He said, that's haram. When you bury a Muslim, you bury them in the ground and their head faces Mecca. There is no way that they would ever, as a Muslim, and John Brennan, being director of the CIA, would know that because he's Muslim himself. He would know not to ask them to drop it off over the mountain. So the SEAL Team 6 knew what was going on, and I'm sure they knew they were in big trouble. And obviously they were all slaughtered and all left to die by Obama administration. And what happened, like you said, Iran, on audio tapes, it's going to come out, making deals with the Obama administration and Joe Biden's administration, saying, if you do not send us $152 billion, we will release this information and you will not get reelected.
You mentioned that money, but I also heard Perot say there was $2 billion that was also earmarked.
That's exactly what I was going to get to. Exactly. So there was $2 billion in cash that was sent from America to Iran. That $2 billion on audio is recorded. I haven't heard it, but I know we have it. Is that the administration said that $2 billion cash is going to go back to the Americans, back to the politicians in order to keep their mouth shut. So they sent $150 billion, but $2 billion in cash so it can come back and take care of the people who are keeping this massive treasonous secret.
So $2 billion gets redirected, of that $153 billion gets redirected back to the United States. I can only assume that some of the people on that phone call were recipients of that dirty money, perhaps that congressman, perhaps John Brennan, Hillary Clinton. What are your thoughts?
That's right. And actually, there's also a lot of documents that points Clinton Foundation with terrorism in the Middle East, and also McCain's foundation also implicated. This is explosive. And once the congressman is going to go through this evidence, there's a plethora of it. Once he realizes that this is legitimate, that this intel is coming from a source who is credible, not only that, Gary, but there are other operatives who have confirmed this information, specifically to Charles Woods, which I'm sure the congressman will speak to as well. So the implications of this is treason. Hang them. I'm sorry, I'm a Christian, but you are a treasonous traitor. Gallows, hang on the own gallows that you have set for us, our Americans. This is you. In America, we protect our military men. We protect them. We don't let them die. We don't call off search and rescues. We don't call off CCO missions to rescue them out of Benghazi. This is absolutely disgusting. And I have a feeling that the mainstream media is not going to want to cover this, but they're going to have no choice because this information is already viral. That's why we released it last night. It went viral. The American people want to know what's going on, what has happened under our noses, how much were we lied to. We want to know the truth. It's time to know the truth. And Hillary Clinton and the Obama administration have known that there is a chance that this will come out. And that is why they never wanted President Trump to win. He wasn't supposed to win, according to them. They were trying to steal it from him. That's why they're trying to impeach him. That's why they're doing anything, even crashing an economy with a pandemic, COVID, to make sure that he doesn't get reelected. He will get reelected in Jesus' name. And when these documents do come out, when the congressman asks to hold hearings, subpoenas will come out. I'm ready. I don't know if you got your popcorn ready, Gary, but I got my popcorn ready for justice in this country. This 2020 has been crazy, but hopefully it's full of justice.
And I want to look at your Twitter here. You say a member of Congress received a majority of the documents last night. You also said a well-respected general that you all know and love said everything that came out is spot on. So you have a high-ranking general who's confirmed all of this already.
Yes, this high-ranking general confirmed it with Charles Woods. He spoke to Charles Woods this morning and said everything that you have released is spot on. This general is going to be named, I'm not going to mention his name, but a lot of people know who he is. He's very well loved. So hopefully this is the October surprise people have been rumoring about for years, but this is it, Gary. That's why I want to ask everyone that's watching right now to share this information with anyone that you can, your liberal friends, your lefty friends. Let them have a moment to break this down in their minds before it explodes on them on national television, and I hope it does. I don't see how they can get away from this, Gary. First of all, I have to say, with the amount of audios that I have heard, they can't have any excuses. There is no justification for what was caught on audio, pictures, documents that John Brennan signed. There's too much information for them to deny that this happened. Way too much. I don't think it's a surprise that Kamala Harris pushed getting rid of nooses and for treason after the Jussie Smollett case. I don't think it's a coincidence that all happened. We're about to have the most insane revelation of American history treason, the biggest that we've ever experienced in this country.
Now, what do we know about the whistleblower himself and how he got the information, his role in it all? I understand that he was a falconer.
How cool is this, Gary? He was a falcon trainer. Who does that? He's a falcon trainer. I can't tell you much about him, but I will say this. He has been working in the Middle East for over 20 years, has very high-level connections in the Middle East. And as you could tell by watching his video, he looks like a wizard. He has to blend in. He's very credible. Obama administration knows very well who he is. They're very familiar with him. Now, these recordings were literally recorded by Alan. Some of them were not, but most of them were phone calls, conversations, documents that he was privy to because he's working in the Middle East, and he has a lot of this information for a long time. But I will say the phone calls that I have heard, the majority of them are Alan on the phone with these congressmen and very high intelligence agencies.
So some more background. Perot said that a double agent provided DNA to a CIA station chief that it was bin Laden in Abbottabad, and then they sent in SEAL Team 6, and they only told Obama about SEAL Team 6, the kill mission, after it was over, and then the radar was put back up so that they could not go back. It was a one-way trip, he said, and he says, we have witnesses who say that Hillary and Panetta were threatening Obama that if he didn't go along with the kill mission, that they would go to the press and he would not survive politically. That is when they pulled him off the golf course after it was over. The architects that he states, the whistleblower states, were Hillary Clinton, John Brennan, and Leon Panetta. SEAL Team 6 killed Osama's double, or a decoy, based on one of the wives who screamed that that is why they didn't save the body. They threw the body parts over the mountains, and John Brennan told everybody to lie. So
That's right.
this is huge.
It is. It's insane. I want to have one little correction there about when Obama found out. From what they told me privately, that Obama found out when it was too late for him to say no. The SEAL Team 6 were already on their way when Obama found out, and Clinton wanted this raid done. And apparently, they had a feeling that Obama was going to say no to it for some reason. And there's some kind of blackmail there. I don't know if that's going to come out, but they sent these guys out from the Department of State, sent them out, and they told Obama later, while it was already too late to say no, and everything else he said was correct.
So Obama was briefed after the mission had already begun. But what's really bizarre is that Hillary called this mission. She's the one who was the architect of this mission with Brennan. But last minute, the Iranians double-crossed and they pulled Osama out, which then created a massive problem for them, because now you have SEAL Team 6. Everyone's celebrating, like I said before, in front of the White House that Osama bin Laden's been killed. And now the Iranians go, guess what? Pay up. Pay up. I mean, who knows, like, to the extent the architecture of this entire operation, maybe that was the plan all along so that they could get billions of dollars funneled back into the United States. I'm just drawing out these different conclusions that could potentially be on the mark.
It's a good question. I don't know if they necessarily didn't want Osama to be there, but he was being heavily protected for a long time. We knew where he was. The point is that Obama used him as a trophy kill to get reelected. And they were sitting on intelligence. They could have grabbed him anytime they wanted. I don't think it's a coincidence that he's not there and that he wasn't there when they got there. So it's a good question. I don't know if we're ever going to find out that information, but it will leave it to the American people to decide what really happened.
I'm going to pull up your Twitter account again here, and you said you've got thousands and thousands of people. Oh, you also were a contestant on Survivor. I remember that. That's a really unique story there. Okay, so I want people to make sure they go to your YouTube channel as well. As you can see on the screen here, this is the Benghazi betrayal, Charles Woods and Nick No at AmFest USA. This is the article I find to be very interesting. CBS News 60 Minutes spiked story on Osama bin Laden in Iran. The White House feared the story could have negative impact for the Obama re-election. This was already known. People knew that he was hiding out there and he was being protected. I was just bringing up the point here from CBS News 60 Minutes, and this was already known, but now we have a major whistleblower coming forward. Anna, thank you for taking the time to come on with me today and to break this news. We're going to continue to follow this story. Any final thoughts?
Final thoughts are this. Pray for these people. Pray for Alan Perot. Pray for Nick No. Pray for Charles Woods. Pray for these men and pray for our congressman that has these documents. Pray for the media to release it. Pray for this to go absolutely viral. It is already viral, and we don't even have all the documents out yet publicly. It will be slow drops. We will see little by little what has happened. And I'm telling you, it's going to explode everyone's mind, especially, I should say, including the Democrats. I have a feeling they're going to try to say this is fake news, but they cannot deny the voices they will hear. They cannot deny the documents that are going to come out. Again, they never thought that Trump would have won, and they never thought or thinking that these documents would ever come out. Pray for Alan's safety. He is out there in the Middle East. He is ready to be transported to a different area. I'll just say that, but just keep him in prayer.
Anna, thank you so much. We certainly will do that. Lift all of them up in prayer so they can be protected. This is tremendous information, and I cannot wait to hear the actual recordings as they go viral. It's going to be very difficult for the left to dispute these things, for Brennan and Hillary and whoever this congressman is. I'm anxious to find out who exactly this congressman is who was working with Brennan and Hillary. You can keep that to yourself for now. I'm sure it will be breaking soon. Anna, thank you so much once again.
God bless everyone. God bless America. Justice is coming in Jesus' name.
Amen. Amen to that. We'll leave it right there, folks. Comment below. Get this viral. Send this all across the web right now. Do your part. And let's hold the criminals who have been destroying this country. Hold them accountable. Remember, I want you guys all to remember this. This is not about Republicans versus Democrats. We're talking about treasonous traitors in our country. When you become a traitor, when you commit treason, it doesn't matter what party you're in. Okay? That has to be very clearly said. So I don't care if you're left or you're right, if you're pro-Trump or you're not, whatever. When you go against this country and you put our servicemen in harm's way, for whatever reason, there must be justice. And it must be swift. Thankfully, we now know that this information is in the hands of a high-profile congressman. It's in his hands. We pray he works swiftly to bring this justice that we in this country need to clean out the corruption. That's what this is about. It's about cleaning out the corruption. It's about draining the swamp so that we can have this country in its purest form as our founders intended. We got to cut those tumors out, friends. And this whistleblower drop is the first step. We cover a lot of news here. There's always something, it feels like there's always something breaking. There's something that's always going to be the final nail in the coffin, right? I don't want to oversell this, but from the people I've spoken to, the people who've heard the audio recordings, it's undisputed just how damning this is for Brennan, Hillary, Obama, all of them. So share this video across all your platforms, comment below, and we'll see you at the next report. For the Next News Network, I'm Gary Franchi.